Can't hear you?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, naturally, I'm not going to suggest doing anything that could lead to a conviction. So, as soon as the trial starts, the judge will pose a certain question to the defense. When that happens, you must answer before anyone else. You must say, I do. I do? But what will the question be? Surely not, do you accept the accusations brought before you? Of course not. Defendant, court is about to begin. Proceed to the courtroom at once. It would seem our surreptitious discussions are to be cut short. So allow me to summarize. Kazuma Soki must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Of course, as the defendant, the final decision is yours. What are you waiting for? Do you want to be found guilty for failing to appear? Get moving. There's no point in anyone advocating for the likes of you anyway. This is it. If this trial goes badly, Kazuma's dreams of studying abroad are over. And what's more, I'll be found guilty of murder. And so, with absolutely no idea of what lay ahead, I embarked on that unforgettable trial. Oh dear. My one and only chance of proving my innocence, the trial that would decide my destiny. Let me see. Skip just means I can just skip to the end. Let me see, though. So probably, if Kazuma doesn't defend us, then we're going to defend ourselves. Yep, that's it. If I press X, it just gets to the end. So this is a courtroom. The Supreme Court of Judicature? Is that what it is?
Judicature? I don't know.
No court in the land has more power. I don't much like the look of those people sitting in the public gallery. Lots of military and other uniforms in there. The powers that be have demanded that this be a secret trial. A secret trial? A trial that's closed to ordinary members of the public. Only military and government officials may attend. What but why? It'll become clear in time, but for now, you need to concentrate. Later.
It's Crazy Beard.
The court will now hear the trial of Ryan Naruhodo.
Was that his same name from the first game?
No, his name was Pain in the first game, but...
Oh, that's true.
He's the
I wonder
same
if that's
guy.
a Japanese word for pain.
Maybe it is. What is that? Uchi? Ouchie? I'll go with... And again, I could be butchering the names, but I'm trying not to. As is the defense. Before we begin, there is one point of order I would like to confirm. Yesterday evening, the defense made a last-minute request for a change of advocate. That's... We're so wide-eyed. Normal procedures for the defendant's advocacy to be decided 2 days prior to trial. As this is an unusual circumstance, I'm obliged to ask for final confirmation now. Who advocates for the defendant in this trial?
I do.
Yep. This is it. This must be the question. Who's going to defend me? That's the question the professor meant. But then, if I say I do, I need to answer quickly. What should I do?
Answer I do.
Exactly. Your Excellency, no confirmation is needed. As I'm standing here beside the defendant, I hope it's clear who will advocate for his defense.
His eyes look sketchy.
No. Maybe we did murder him. What is the meaning of this unruly outburst? I would like to inform the court that I, Ryan, will be defending myself. Naruhodo. I'm going to try to at least say Ryan Naruhodo.
Okay. You're still broadcasting?
Yes.
You should probably tell them that you...
Yes, we're calling ourselves Ryan because we're just not sure how to pronounce the name. What are you playing at, Ryan? Because I think it might be... We decided it might be Ryunosuke. Ryunosuke? I think it's Ryunosuke.
Alright, they call him Ryunosuke.
I will do Ryunosuke. What are you playing at, Ryunosuke? Professor Mikotoba told me everything just now before the trial. He did what? He said that your dreams of studying abroad would be dashed if you were to lose. How sad. It means you don't have faith in me. You think I won't be able to get you off. No, it's not that, really. It's just that, well, on the off chance that things don't go well for me, I couldn't bear to be the reason that you... Yes. I knew that's how you'd feel, which is exactly why I decided not to tell you. Professor Mikotoba shouldn't have stuck his nose in. Very well. The court hereby recognizes the defendant's desire to advocate for himself in today's trial. Well, well. Does the accused admit defeat already, renouncing his own counsel? Really?
Objection!
Make no mistake, counsel. This merely shows that the defendant's innocence is so apparent he's confident he can speak for himself. Isn't that so, Naruhodo-san? Oh, yes, exactly. Exactly what I wasn't thinking. I'm not confident at all. Yes, the sweating face! In fact, my mind's a complete blank. I realize you're in charge now, but still, try not to look so bewildered. Well, for a mere university student to be brought before the Supreme Court, you must have perpetrated the most heinous crime indeed. As you are no doubt aware, this is the Supreme Court of Judicature of Japan. Accordingly, the very highest standards of conduct are expected of all present. Do I make myself clear, Defendant Naruhodo? Yes, Your Excellency. It is therefore my duty to assess your competence for the task you have undertaken. My competence? What does that mean? Okay, we can do that. He's questioning your ability to do the job. Well, he can't be questioning it more than I am. So, let's start with the very simplest of questions. Yes. Kindly state before the court the name of the victim in this case. Okay, how do we check the court record? First name more times than I care to remember. But, wait. I'm so nervous I can't even remember that. What was it again? Rinosuke? Let me guess, your mind's gone blank? You know me so well. All the relevant information for this case can be found in the court record. But I can't even find that. It's simple. You can access the court record with a press of R1. If you ever find you've forgotten something, just consult that. It's all in there. I just have to press R1 for the court record. Alright, there's no time to lose. This is the list of evidence you've collected. Now try switching to people instead with R1. You'll find the details about the victim in there. When you're done, just press circle to go back. John H. Wilson, 47. Medical school professor, authority in forensic medicine. Second year at the Imperial Yuma University. He's my best friend despite being a student. Qualified as all heck. So remember, everything to do with the current case can be found in the court record. Death occurred a little after 2 p.m. and was caused by loss of blood from a gunshot to the chest. The bullet did not pass through the victim's body. Fatal hemorrhage from pectoral ballistic trauma, no exit wound. Bullet did not pass through the body. John H. Wilson? Okay. That's right, I have no idea who did it this time. You should read the next part.
Now you better not keep His Excellency waiting any longer. Go on.
Alright! Find the victim in the people section of the court record, then press triangle to present.
Yes!
Yes?
Yes! The victim's name was Dr. John H. Wilson. Well, at least you can remember the name of an esteemed member of your own university. Dr. Wilson was a visiting professor from England, invited to Yuma University 3 years ago. Indeed, which is Whoops. Indeed, which is the reason why this case has such profound implications. The British Empire is at present our country's most valuable foreign ally, and as most of you will be aware, we have just signed a new treaty together after lengthy negotiations. There can't be anyone who hasn't heard of the Anglo-Japanese Treaty of Friendship and Navigation. And yet, despite these delicate circumstances, an Englishman has been split on our soil. You two are both undergraduates at the Imperial Yume University, are you not? Murdering a professor from the very institution that provides your education. Have you no honor? But I didn't do it. This case is coming under great scrutiny from our allies on the other side of the world. The court therefore wishes for a speedy resolution to this matter. In other words, our feeble government is scared of upsetting England's policymakers. And you're a convenient and expendable scapegoat to blame for this crime. That's why this trial has these unusual peculiarities, is it? Exactly. Our government needs to convict someone as quickly as possible. All because the victim was an Englishman. Yes, Dr. Wilson was an Englishman. But nationalities and treaties won't make any difference for me here. The fact is, I was there at the scene of the crime. Oh dear, look at the time. I'd better be going. Alright, I'll see you later. I think I'll stay and enjoy this place a little longer. Good idea. After all, it's not every day you get to visit a high-class Western restaurant like this. See you in English class tomorrow then, partner. The British Empire. Wow, it's incredible to think. Wait. I've seen that man at university. I'm sure he's a visiting professor from Great Britain. I don't know his name, but still, I should go and say hello. So I went over to the professor's table and introduced myself to Dr. Wilson. Now then, let me pose my next question to you, Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. How did this professor of medicine, Dr. John H. Wilson, lose his life? Pretty sure we know this. State before the court the cause of death. The cause of death? Well, obviously that was, Ryonosuke. Remember that in court, every assertion must be backed up by evidence. By evidence? But how? Find the piece of evidence that shows the professor's cause of death, select present, do it now. Yes, that. Well, according to this document, the victim suffered a hemorrhagic death? Is that how you pronounce it? Hemorrhagic? Hemorrhagic? Okay. Due to gunshot trauma. Learn to read, you imbecile. That's the post-mortem report, I take it? Sorry, yes. That's right. The post-mortem report. In the West, the doctor dissects corpses to identify the cause of death in an autopsy. But here in Japan, a police officer merely inspects the body and draws conclusions that way. Oh, I see. As long as I'm not going to be tested on any of this later. This is a so-called photographic print of the scene of the crime. You can clearly discern scorch marks around the bullet hole produced by the powder explosion. In other words, we should assume the victim was shot at close range. Thank you, counsel. The court will accept this modern scientific evidence into the record. Oh yeah, photographs are just becoming a thing right now. The photographic print of the victim has been entered into the court record. So that's a photographic print. Wow, that's something I've never seen before. It's clearly superior to a drawing. The detail is incredible. Very well, I am satisfied with your answers. Let us start the trial. Certainly, Your Excellency. So without further ado, in order to better apprise the court with the facts of this case, the prosecution hereby calls its first witness who was there at the scene of the crime when it happened. This is it then. I think I may have worked out what the professor had in mind. The professor? You mean Dr. Mikotoba? Yes, clearly you're the defense lawyer today, not me. But that doesn't mean... Well, I can still act as your assistant. Ah, of course. When he was speaking with me before, he simply said, Kazuma Sogi must not be the defense lawyer in this trial. Huh, he really has been sticking his oar in, hasn't he? Maybe, but any help you can give me would be greatly appreciated, Kazuma. Well, my first piece of advice is rein in that crazy look of bewilderment and control the cold sweats. Only if you rein in that crazy headband and control the cold stares first.
I was thinking the same thing.
The headband!
He looks like a samurai of sorts or something.
Mm-hmm. I mean, there's definitely more of a Japanese flair to this game. Like, even though the developers of the first game were Japanese, there's clearly more of a, you know, this isn't happening in America kind of thing. Witness, state your name and occupation for the court, please. Of course, my name is Satoru Hozonaka. I am the head waiter at a Western-style restaurant called La Carnival. Ahem. Are you alright? You seem to be coughing up some, It's a regular occurrence. It really doesn't bother me. What? Well, it really, really should. As everyone knows, the capital's southeastern quarter was developed for foreign visitors some years ago. It's become a very fashionable district now, full of hotels to accommodate overseas guests. This grim crime occurred in one of the district's so-called restaurants, an Occidental eatery, 3 days ago. Understood. Hosonoga-san, you will kindly tell the court everything you can about the incident. At once, sir. We're gonna cross-examine soon! Yay! And no petty interjections from the aspiring lawyer boy, please. Oh, perspiring maybe, but aspiring? It was just after 2 p.m. on the day in question. We had few diners at the time of the day. The lunchtime rush was over, and there were only 3 tables still occupied. That fits in with my memory of it too. There was hardly anyone else in the place. It was when I was in the kitchen, putting away crockery and cutlery. A gunshot rang out, so I hurried out to the dining area to see what had happened. I found the victim, an English gentleman, slumped in his chair, and standing immediately beside him, gun in hand, was the accused university student. Hold on, let me just clarify something here. When I did pick up the gun that I found lying on the floor beside the professor, I didn't shoot him. I believe I asked you to refrain from petty interjections. The court wishes to listen to the witness's report of what he saw, you amateur. But the next time you interrupt at an inappropriate time, you will be penalized, Defendant Naruhodo. Don't worry, Ryunosuke. You'll have your chance to fight back.
Come here.
For now, we must just quietly listen to the witness.
Okay.
Kitty! If I may confirm 1 point, waiter, standing beside the victim with a gun in his hand was the same man we see here in court today? Yes, without question. I see. And apart from the accused, was there anyone else standing beside the victim? No. There was no one else around that table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. Huh? Wait, what did he just say? There was no one else around the table but the deceased Englishman and the university student. There was no one else around that table? What's the matter, Ryunosuke? That's just not right. When I went over to Dr. Wilson to say hello, there was a woman sitting opposite him at his table. Really? And that's not something the waiter could have missed. I've been warned about interjecting, but still, what should I do? I mean, we get to cross-examine, so I'm sure we can just wait and see. I don't like the way he's doing that with his glasses either. I desperately want to say something, but I was told not to interject. Ryunosuke, If your parents tell you to study, you're the kind of man who would diligently get to work, aren't you? I suppose I am. I've never gotten to Yume University otherwise. But you can't just always follow the rules in life, you know. If you don't say what you want to say right now, you'll seriously regret it when you're found guilty. Alright, you've scared me. I won't forget that piece of advice in a hurry. And there is something I want to say. I'm just going to shut my eyes and say it. Just a moment, please. Dr. Wilson wasn't alone that day. I'm sure of it, there was a lady sitting with him at the same table. Dear me, what are we going to do with you? With your blatant disregard for court proceedings, I'm beginning to wonder if you're not a fraud. Could it be that the accused, this mere student, a real lawyer, is not a real lawyer after all? But I'm sure of what I saw. Hosonaga-san, is there any chance you're mistaken? Perhaps your memory of events is hazy? No. The deceased gentleman came to dine alone. I don't believe it. I actually have a rough plan of the restaurant as it was that day. Please have a look if you'd like to. Let me see. Sketch of the establishment's layout drawn by yourself, I presume? That's right, I'm afraid I used the back of my business card. It was a turbulent situation. However, as you can see, the gentleman in question was seated alone. Well, you're clearly a very conscientious waiter. Thank you, sir. The court will take this plan and add it to the court record as evidence. Oh, well... Is there a problem? Hand the plan to the court officer at once. Of course, here you are. What was that about? He's been completely calm and collected until now. Something certainly seems to have shaken him. The waiter's business card has been entered into the court record.
There's something on the back of it.
I bet, yeah. So, the court has now heard Prices? Prices?
I don't know. Prices of the case?
Prices of the case. That's what I'll go with. Yes, at the moment the gunshot was heard at the restaurant.
Can you flip it? There is something on the other side. I can see it through the... But you cannot rotate.
You know, it doesn't look like.
I think that there's another table behind him because in the picture there's a table set behind him.
Yeah. So he's sitting there.
Mm-hmm.
There is a table behind him. However...
There's a steak on it.
However, that would be the table here.
You think so?
Yeah, because he's here, and he's behind this table.
But then that would prove that there's somebody else there, unless that's, the one guy I can't pronounce names table.
Well, we'll wait a bit.
Okay.
Probably getting a little ahead of ourselves. The only person in close proximity to the victim was the defendant on trial today. It would seem we are looking at a black and white case here. Defendant Naruhodo. Yes, Your Excellency. If you admit your guilt at the stage, the court is willing to look mercifully upon you. In other words, you may have some small reprieve in terms of your inevitable punishment. I called this waiter as an unsworn witness in order to explain the details of the case to the court. But I must warn the defense, if you are determined to pursue matters further in this trial, the prosecution has decisive evidence from sworn witnesses who were present at the scene of the crime. What do you think I should do, Kazuma? What do you mean? Well, I'm going to be found guilty one way or another, it seems. Wouldn't it be sensible to plead guilty at this stage and hope for a more lenient sentence? Everyone keeps telling me this trial is unusual, about these peculiarities. You've said it, Professor Mikotaba said it, and so has the judge and the prosecution. I'm scared of what lies ahead if I push this. As I said from the outset, I believe you're innocent. I trust you. And yet, despite knowing that, you're willing now to throw that trust back in my face? Is that it? What? If the accused is in fact innocent, then the defense lawyer is duty-bound to prove that innocence by whatever means necessary. And you're just going to abandon that duty. You're going to give up on yourself. The battle hasn't even begun yet, Ryonosuke. The defense pleads not guilty, Your Excellency. We invite the prosecution to stop making empty threats and bring out its witnesses. Then we'll see just how the divisive this evidence really is. Indeed. Prosecutor Ouchie, please continue with proceedings. Tisk, well, you were warned. The young can be so reckless. You know, many call me a saint, but I can be a devil when I want to be. Ugh. In a few short moments from now, that dumbstruck young mouth of yours will be silenced forever.
Hi, baby. Hi, baby.
The prosecution calls its next witness. Very well,
Now I got to
officer.
cross that guy.
Bring forth the witnesses at once. Yeah, it's kind of weird. Maybe we'll bring them to the stand later. Witnesses, kindly state your names and occupations for the court. Yes, sir. The great Nippon... Is it Nippon or Nippon?
Nippon?
Nippon Imperial Army Sergeant Ayisa Nosa, reporting for duty, sir. Myself, I find employ as a purveyor of fine articles of antiquity from the fluorescence of our nation, Nippon, and conduct... I think it's Nippon, and conduct my trade from Rasuteya humble premises in the 2nd District. Kurio Korekudo at your service. An antique dealer and a soldier. What an unusual pairing. Both of these gentlemen were present at the restaurant on the day in question.
His name is like aye, aye, sir, and no, sir.
Really?
The soldier, yeah.
Ayisa Nosa.
It's like aye, aye, sir, and no, sir.
Ayisa Nosa. Oh my god, you're right!
Or kata.
An armor sergeant in the Empire of Japan who witnessed the incident. Ayisa Nosa. That's what we're calling him then.
What is the other one?
Kurio Korekuda?
That one isn't.
I don't know if anything could beat Look at Me.
I like Luke at me.
They might be the diners at the other table that the waiter mentioned. Myself, I habitually take tea of the most exquisite aroma at the establishment in question, always post-noon, and not infrequently converse with interested parties regarding the curios with which I make my business. I can't understand a word that old man is saying. He's an antique dealer, and it sounds like he's a regular at La Carnival. He seeks out potential customers who may have an interest in antiques and tries to sell his wares to them. He obviously targets La Carnival because it's a high-class restaurant with rich clientele. Right, I see. Although, to be honest, that sergeant looks more like he'd be a seller rather than a buyer. Now, you both witnessed the precise moment of this most atrocious incident. Is that correct? Affirmative. The enemy unit was seen attacking the foreigner in what can only be described as an act of war, sir. It was that black uniform rogue infantryman over there who unloaded this firearm, sir. This man's as impossible to understand as the other. But I'm almost sure I heard a strange noise during that last thing he said.
I did too.
So this is the decisive evidence to prosecute. What did you hear?
Like a baby or something. There was a noise.
So this is the decisive evidence the prosecution was threatening. The soldier is claiming that he actually saw the precise moment you shot the victim dead.
Ow!
Yes. If you're wondering why she's owling, petting a cat who's nipping. Yes. Well, are you starting to feel uncomfortable? If I'm honest, I was feeling uncomfortable from the start. Now the court will hear your formal testimony, please. You will state everything you saw at the What?
I was doing the music that they do while they're giving their testimony.
Do the music again?
No, it was bad.
Well, I want to try to hear it so I can figure out what game you were singing.
The last one.
Oh, it's do, do,
Yeah.
do.
And then it speeds up.
Yeah, I always love the Allegro examination. It's like, oh man, I got this guy. You'll say everything you saw at the precise moment the incident occurred. Sir, yes, sir. Standing by, ready to report, sir.
Yeah, I heard it again.
Yeah, I just heard it. Unsavory memories of a most acerbic afternoon. 2 witnesses at once. This is different.
Yeah.
Yes! Testimony!
Kitty got scared.
Oh, Kitty got scared. Oh, Kitty. Okay, here we go. I was ingesting a regulation beefsteak at the restaurant while having a tactical discussion with the old man. Myself, I was extolling the virtues of a particularly fine golden curio to the military gentleman. At that precise moment, a firearm was discharged. I observed the enemy's action with my own eyes. What in the world? The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. From the back? Nuh-uh. I was on my hands and knees investigating the whereabouts of my mysteriously absconded precious curio. Well, we already know where he's mixed up. Well, so you, Sergeant Nosa, actually witnessed the vile moment. You saw the split second when the defendant fired the weapon at the victim. Yes, sir. The cadet, sir. The cruel and unforgivable enemy. What times we live in when an English gentleman may be assailed in the broad light of day. But this is ridiculous. I didn't shoot anyone. Is that really true, Ryunosuke? Yes, all I did was pick up the gun that I saw lying on the floor. After I'd said hello to Dr. Wilson, I went back to my table and sat drinking some coffee. Then, when I'd finished, I got up from my seat to leave the restaurant when I noticed an English-made gun next to the chair where the professor was sitting. I thought perhaps the professor had dropped it. So I bent down, and just as I was picking it up, bang! Well, if that's the truth, there was obviously a criminal on the scene somewhere. And somewhere in these 2 witnesses' testimonies, there's a clue as to who that criminal was. There is? Ryunosuke, you must exercise your right to cross-examine the witness. Cross-examine? Do it now. As we have heard, Your Excellency, there is no room for doubt in the testimony of these witnesses. The defendant is clearly guilty. It is time to bring this despicable student to justice. Certainly, the testimony the court has just heard eliminates any vestige of doubt. Therefore, it is my grave duty to declare the verdict of this...
Yes!
Why doesn't he say objection?
I don't know.
What in the name of the Emperor is the meaning of this outburst? the defense, demands its right to a cross-examination. Dear me, dear me. Let me guess. The Hachimaka headband boy next door told me to do it? How pathetic. Huh? How did he know? The prosecution objects. This is a clear waste of time. The defendant obviously has no experience. How can he possibly carry out a cross-examination?
Objection!
The defense is asserting its right to a cross-examination. Whether or not you think he's capable of it is irrelevant. Kazuma is so commanding. Very well. Let the defense conduct a cross-examination of the witnesses. Alright, this is where the battle begins, Ryunosuke. I don't even know what I have to do in a cross-examination. Isn't it obvious? You have to expose the lies in the witnesses' statements. How? You didn't fire the gun, which means what that soldier said has to be a lie. Well, yes, but it's just a case of proving it, and the key to doing that is evidence. Right, evidence. All you need to do is present some decisive and indisputable evidence that proves the witness is lying. Now let's go, Ryunosuke. Don't let them beat you. Alright then. It It's all or nothing. When he beat on the table, it was pathetic. Oh dear. What the witnesses saw. And from the back. Okay, this is wrong.
Wait, do you want to do the autopsy report or the picture?
He was shot from the front in the chest. But this says gunshot to the chest.
Maybe it's one of the ones you can do either.
I hope so. Let me try it.
Yes, yes.
Why does he say yes? Say objection!
I don't like his shifty eyes.
Well, he's nervous right now. What are you playing at, cadet? What is the meaning of this subordination? Thrusting this wad of papers in my mustache? Inconsistency, sir. I mean, yes! There's a clear inconsistency here.
Don't lick me.
Ugh, what nonsense. What can this document possibly tell us that we don't already know? Well, obviously, that, I know what I want to say, but the words just won't come out of my mouth. I think this proves beyond any doubt, Your Excellency, that there's no place for an amateur student here in this grand courtroom. This is so frustrating. Oh, please. Surely this doesn't require an explanation. It couldn't be more plain. To spell it out would be an insult to the court. Kazuma, what? What are you talking about? It's apparent from a single glance at the post-mortem report presented by the defense that there's a clear discrepancy here with the sergeant's statement. What? Sergeant Isanosa. Yes, sir. What, sir? The statement you just made was this. The black uniformed varsity cadet fired on the English civilian, and from the back, the cowardly little weasel. Yes, sir. Affirmative, sir. I witnessed the crime with my own military-grade eyes, sir.
Yes.
But no, that just can't be. And why not, cadet? Because, as is clearly stated in the post-mortem report, fatal hemorrhage, pectoral ballistic trauma, no exit wound, bullet did not pass through the body. The photographic print of the victim clearly shows the same thing. The victim, Dr. Wilson, died from a bullet wound to the chest. Sergeant, according to your witness statement, the culprit shot the victim from behind. And that is the obvious discrepancy here. Well, how do you explain it? What is going on?
Oh, it's that purple wrap across his chest that's holding the baby on there.
But instead of in the front, it's to the back. What? What was that? Something just popped up from behind his back, but he pushed it down again. Certainly, there's a clear discrepancy with the facts here. Would you not agree, Sergeant Nosa? Take this because I'm drinking.
I don't know how to.
No, I mean, say the lines.
Oh, yes, sir. At this juncture, that would appear to be indisputable. Until the moment I heard the firearm discharge, my eyes were firmly fixed on the delicious La Carnival steak, sir.
What? Sorry, take it.
The last testimony the court heard has proven one thing beyond all reasonable doubt. This witness, Sergeant Isanosa, did not see the defendant fire a gun at all. That's absurd. I think the conclusion we must draw is simple. There is no place for an amateur prosecutor here in this grand courtroom.
Inconsistency steer. Yay.
There's been a complete turnabout in the mood of this trial, just from the one discrepancy.
Yes. Alright, I can take it from here if you'd like. Just to finish drinking that, it was very good.
Yay.
So this is what being an ace attorney is all about. I see what they did there. But I definitely saw him. That university cadet there, he was pointing the firearm directly at the victim's back. But I never fired the gun. All I did was pick it up off the floor. And you, old man, you didn't see the moment the victim was shot either? Myself, I have already been quite clear. The gunshot interested me not. I was far too busy on the floor. Too busy on the floor? Sorry, what were you doing? Hunting for treasure. Treasure?
Someone stole it.
Indeed, the Horera Koban, my prized coin. On each occasion when I visit that restaurant, it is my habitude. Is he making up words?
Yeah.
To place in my bosom pocket a particular trinket of interest from my shop, Rosuste, in the hope of meeting a rich diner who might like to buy it from you. On the day under scrutiny, it was to the military man that I preferred my Hoye treasure. Believed that he would purchase such a rare find, I did not, but I was presented with little alternative. And then, after averting my eyes for the briefest of moments, was there no more. It was there no more. It simply vanished. The Koban vanished? Hunting around under the table I was, in case mayhap it had fallen there, and then it happened. You heard the gunshot, you mean? Indeed I did, but I heeded it not, for I was only concerned with finding my absconded Hoya treasure. Nothing could distract me. Out of interest, did you find the coin in the end? No. I see. That lamentable day, the precious Hoya Koban was lost to me. No doubt, some unscrupulous scoundrel pocketed the prize coin for himself. Does he suspect that guy? Is that why he was looking at him?
Yeah.
As I am sure everyone present is aware, this case demands a swift and decisive resolution. Our government has promised to send a full report to Great Britain by telegraph this very afternoon. Nevertheless, the witness testimony the court has just heard was inconclusive. No matter how subservient our government feels it must be to the British, it would be unforgivable to deliver a verdict on this trial right now. What is your position, Prosecutor Ouchie? Worry not, Your Excellency. The defendant may have fled a tiger at the front gate, but he will find a wolf at the back. My witnesses have further testimony to make. Explain. Upon hearing their next statements, it will become abundantly clear that there is only one person who could possibly have committed this despicable crime. The equally despicable defendant, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What? He really seems to have a despicable opinion of you, doesn't he? Very well, the court invites the witnesses to testify again. You will thoroughly explain the reasoning behind the prosecution's allegation. Is that clear? As clear as Kiriko glass, Your Excellency. Yes, sir, at once, sir. Awaiting signal to testify, sir. Excuse me, but there's something or someone peeking out over your shoulder, I think. Affirmative, the newest member of the Nosa family to rise up through the ranks, sir. Name, Ido. Ido Nosa? I don't know, sir? What?
Yeah.
It would seem those straps are a sign of the sergeant being too strapped to afford a nanny. Ido Tienshin. Your father is about to quell the enemy. Watch and learn, my boy. Even if what I saw wasn't the precise moment the firearm was discharged, it's almost the same thing. Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man, he was... young lad in black.
Oh.
That much Why did you gasp?
Because I thought he was saying this guy was pointing the gun at him.
Ah. That much I myself did see. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman, dining all by himself. Now, why is it nobody saw this girl except us, basically, being the protagonist?
Well, maybe he's in on it with the girl and called him there so the girl they could pickpocket him and she killed the other guy. I don't know.
But the waiter didn't see it either.
Maybe the waiter's in on it too. I don't know.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past the game for everybody to
Or
be on
maybe the
it.
waiter and the girl are in on it.
Therefore, no one other than the black uniform cadet could have dispatched the Englishman over and out. These testimonies are certainly compelling. Wait, that's nonsense. The victim, Dr. Wilson, wasn't alone at all. Please, enough of these outbursts already. But there was a woman, there was a young woman at this table. You must have seen her. Everyone there must have seen her. If you call yourself a lawyer, then you will respect the rules of the court and speak accordingly. We are not here to listen to your fantasies. Ugh. It is evident beyond all reasonable doubt that the victim was alone at the time of the incident. The prosecution has photographic evidence of this fact. Is this a photographic print of the scene of the crime council?
Now there's no body in there.
Indeed, of the table at which the victim was dining, taken by an investigator immediately after the incident. As can plainly be seen, there was only one place set. Certainly, based on the appearance of this print, it would be reasonable to conclude that the victim was not in the company of anyone else. This doesn't make any sense.
It's not his table, it's the table behind him.
Which, yeah, table behind had the one stake. The court will add this new photographic evidence to the record.
A bottle of carbonated beverage and a steak lens can be seen on the victim's table.
It looks like a carbonated beverage behind him, right? Let's see. So, that steak is... Yeah, it looks like the same table.
Yeah, there's
What?
no body in the other one.
Yeah, I don't understand. Yeah, because there's no table behind this table. Is there? Well, I guess you can maybe make the argument that there is the one on the top left, but still. What's going on here? It's just not possible that nobody else saw that woman. The waiter reports the same thing. He maintains that Dr. Wilson came to the restaurant alone as well. But that's not true, I saw her. I swear that I saw a woman with him. It would seem that we'll be able to telegraph the report to Great Britain on time after all. The witness testimonies we have just heard leave no further room for doubt. These are very sensitive political times, as we all know. The ink is still fresh on the treaty with Great Britain. To think that I, Takatsuchi Ouchi, will have contributed to the amity of these two great empires is an honor. How can this be happening? The judge is ready to rule. Stand tall, Ryanosuke. It's not over yet. Oh, Mia, thank you. Oh. What? If what you say is true, then there's something going on here behind the scenes. And now is your chance to expose it, to draw out the truth in your cross-examination. I don't know, Kazuma. The defense is entitled to cross-examine the witnesses, but make it quick, understood? Just, rules can be so unbending at times. Ugh. Well, I don't see any contradiction, so I guess we'll have to push.
See.
Even when I saw it was on the same thing, so press.
Yes! Yes!
No, it's not the same thing at all. For a start, I didn't fire that gun. We have a difference of opinion on that. The opinion of a uniformed officer versus that of a fledgling cadet. I don't think so. Consider this, defendant. Just a moment ago, I blinked. Did you? Did you see it? Did you see me blink? How could I? And yet, it's an undeniable fact that I did blink. So there you have it. Have what? Tichun. I don't get what Tichun means.
That's his baby's name.
Oh.
Audio Tishun.
The sound of the firearm rang in my ears, and the very next moment, I saw you waving the gun at the Englishman. I think that says it all, don't you? And let us not forget that the antique dealer witnessed the accused in this most incriminating position as well. Isn't that so, Kurakuta-chan? Son. Oh. Yes, pointing his gun at the foreign man he was, the young lad in black. That much I myself did see.
Yes, yes.
Yes, it may be true that I was holding the gun at the point in time. But I told you that already. That's only because I picked it up off the floor. Well, obviously as the culprit, that's the only way you could explain it away. I had just finished drinking my coffee and I was about to leave the restaurant when I noticed the gun on the floor at Dr. Wilson's feet, so I picked it up. And at exactly that moment, bang. A gunshot rang in my ears. Full of events beyond our control, life is. Sorry, what do you mean? In your case, you found a pistol on the floor and picked it up, which precipitated this testing predicament. Whereas conversely, I failed to pick up the Kobin from the floor and find myself in an equally testing predicament as a result. Anyway, the fact remains, myself, I did see you. Pistol in hand, standing over the foreigner. Furthermore, a visual search of the premises at the time confirmed that we were the only personnel present. Oh, whoops. There we go.
Yes, yes.
Press him on this one. He must have noticed someone else at Dr. Wilson's table. There was a lady there. As you have been at pains to point out time and again, I feel I'm growing a callus in my ear. And yet, no one else appears to have caught even a glimpse of this woman. If only there had been more people dining there at the time. Then someone else could have noticed her. Unfortunately, it was already past 2 p.m. when it happened. The quiet time between lunch and dinner in any restaurant. I know. Of course the place was almost empty. It's what you'd expect. Certainly, 2 p.m. is neither here nor there in terms of a time to eat. I wonder if there was a reason why the victim was eating at the time of day, and why he was alone. Yes, Your Excellency, there was indeed a reason. There was? This was found in the victim's jacket pocket. What is that, Counsel? It is a medical report card, Your Excellency. It would seem that the victim had an appointment at a clinic prior to visiting the restaurant. Oh my god. Hoda Clinic. Remember that?
Mm-hmm. Hottie Clinic.
Hada?
Isn't it Hottie?
I thought it was... It might have been Hottie Clinic, but yeah, this seems to be some kind of spiritual predecessor. Yeah, there indeed appeared to be an entry for that. Dating question. November 19th, noon to past 1 p.m. The very day of the incident. So the victim went for a late lunch following his appointment. The explanation couldn't be more simple. The prosecution felt no need to submit this evidence before, as it really has no bearing on the case. I wonder. What do you think, Ryosuke? Well, it is hard to see how it could be related, really. Remember, you could request for it to be entered into the court record as evidence if you think it could be useful. Should I ask for Dr. Wilson's medical report card to be submitted as evidence or not? I asked for it to be submitted, obviously.
Yes, yes.
If I may, I'd like to ask for the medical report card to be submitted as evidence, Your Excellency. On what grounds? The court has already heard conclusive witness testimony. Additional evidence would be extraneous. Extraneous. There we go. Not to mention that the victim's movements prior to his arrival at the restaurant are of no concern.
Objection.
Whether or not they are of concern is up to us to decide. We have a right to explore all possible avenues. I beg your pardon? You have no authority to refuse a perfectly valid request for the submission of evidence. Very well, the court will grant the defense's request. Youngsters these days are forever asserting their rights. It's a most disturbing trend. Officer, kindly add the victim's medical report card to the court record.
A medical report card from the body clinic that was found. Can we look at the back of that business card, too?
I don't see any way to flip it yet.
Yeah.
This, we can't... Medical report card from Hoda Clinic was found in the victim's pocket. We have to explore things from every possible angle, even if they don't seem relevant at first. Right, I hear you. I'm thinking in the second case the jury comes into play. I'm thinking it's a new...
This is a tutorial, like...
Yeah, and so that's why it's a military trial with... There's no jury here, but probably the second case all that stuff comes. You can conspire to prolong this trial as much as you like, but it's the day after the festival already for you. Or perhaps you've forgotten that these witness testimonies leave no room for doubt. Feel free to reiterate for the accused, Kurakoto-san. Indeed, alone he was, the Englishman dining all by himself. Therefore, no one other than the black uniform cadet could dispatch the Englishman. Over and out.
Yes! Yes!
Why aren't you telling the truth? What? What did you say, cadet? I clearly remember. There was a woman sitting across the table from the professor. Perhaps one of you might not have noticed, but for both of you to have failed to see the professor's dining companion, it's just not possible. Unfortunately for you, Defendant Naruhodo, it's not just a case of these two witnesses alone. Sorry? The waiter, whose testimony the court heard earlier, clearly stated the same thing. He said that the victim was alone. That's right. Precisely, in other words, you are the sole proponent of this phantom lady. But if such a woman were indeed present at the scene, the prosecution demands to see proof. And if no such proof exists, the prosecution demands that no further mention of this phantom woman be made. It is a blatant waste of the court's time. There's nothing I can say to that. Ha 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 ha.
Can you put that next to yours? I don't want it wrong.
Yeah. Excellent work, Ryunosuke. We've gleaned new information now. Well, yes, but I don't think it changes much. I can't see that it brings any real discrepancies to light. I wouldn't be so sure. Let me see the medical report card you got before. Oh, you mean this? Yes, this is a brand new piece of evidence, so perhaps we should examine it in a little more detail. How exactly? Oh, okay. I see what they're doing. You'll notice that some pieces of evidence bear a magnifying glass. These are the ones you may examine. Press X, and you can take a closer look at the piece of evidence in question. Use the right analog stick. Oh, we can rotate now.
What does it say?
To rotate all the evidence in all directions and examine it from all angles. By using L. Oh! Oh, that's great. You can move the crosshairs around to hunt for clues that may have been missed before. If the crosshairs start to pulsate, press X to investigate further. So, partner, I think you should take a closer look at this medical report card. See if there isn't something new to be learned by examining it in more detail. Alright, I'll see what I can do. I need to use R, L, and X to inspect any areas of the evidence that look suspicious. It says Hoda Clinic on this medical report card. I hate clinics almost as much as I hate hospitals and surgeries. Aren't they all the same? When I was 5, I caught the only cold I've ever had in my life. And I remember, even though I felt awful already, I had to have this hideous injection in my right arm. I'll never forget it, never in my whole life. Most people will give their right arm to have had only one cold in their whole life. Anyway, I don't think this is a clinic where they treat people for illnesses like that. Let's keep looking for clues, we don't want to miss anything. Let's have a look. This is some kind of medical history. And there's an entry for the day the professor was killed. Extraction of molar with topical anesthesia. Extraction of molar? You mean he had a tooth taken out? It would seem so. Just before the incident, he had a bad tooth removed. Perhaps they used laughing gas. That's the most modern practice in the West for pain relief. Yes, I've heard of this anesthesia. Although it's hard to believe there's anything that can actually stop you from feeling pain. There's a cautionary note from the medical practitioner as well. Strictly no food or drink besides water for 3 hours post-procedure unless anesthetic effects have passed. That's it! Strictly no food or drink. That means that food the woman was eating. Really? Sounds like information worth bearing in mind. The medical report card's information has been updated in the court record. With this new information, the meaning of that one particular statement totally changes. So, I think it's time we listen to the testimony again, don't you? Definitely.
Who's that?
What the? Look at this guy's business card. Chief Inspector Saruto Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. That guy's not a waiter. Well, that's unexpected. What is? Look, do you see it says the witness's name here? Satoru Hosonaga? Well, yes, business cards do tend to show the person's name. That's sort of the point. It's not the name that's unexpected, it's his job title. His job? Oh! Chief Inspector Satoru Hosonaga, Primary Criminal Investigation Division, Imperial Police Bureau. Inspector? What on earth? I have no idea. But let's face it, the police have a lot of power and influence. If they're wielding it somehow here... The waiter's business card information has been updated in the court record. I wonder if that waiter is actually with the police because he's trying to implicate them so they can get back to Great Britain quicker. What do you think of that theory? Yeah.
He's trying to get back to Great Britain quicker because why?
Well, I think... Sorry, in case you're wondering, she's a little tired. So this says the waiter, the business card, he's a chief inspector for the police. So what if the reason he's not seeing the woman, supposedly, is because he's trying to expedite this case so they can telegraph Great Britain? Let's see. Okay, so I'm thinking it's this one.
Yes! Yes!
After this, we'll call it quits for the day, just so you can go to sleep. Well, I think, about what are you wittering, lad? Call yourself a lawyer? I wish I could, but first and foremost here, I'm the accused. Reinosuke, everyone stumbles on their words occasionally. Under the circumstances, I wouldn't worry about it. Thanks, Kazuma. I could see it quite clearly in the cross-examination you just carried out. When you raised your hand straight up like that, purposefully, you knew exactly what it was you wanted to say. Don't feel like you have to choose your words carefully. Just say what you're thinking. Alright, and thanks for the advice. Oh boy. Kurakuta-san, this is a medical report card belonging to the victim. I see, and I don't see. What of it, boy? Comparing what is written on this report card with your witness statement, something clearly doesn't add up. Dear me, dear me. Have you forgotten my words so soon, you amateur? Sorry, what? You are not to interrupt court proceedings with your amateur's dribble. But, let's see if I can explain in words you might understand. It was after 2 p.m. in the afternoon when the victim was murdered at the restaurant. Whatever he may or may not have done before that time is completely irrelevant. But that's, Remember, Ryunosuke, you don't have to use clever language or fancy words. Just make your point. Your Excellency, I believe we're finished here. No need to further prolong the trial. The witness testimonies the court has heard have been clear and concise. This medical report card has no bearing on the matter at all, for the simple reason that there is no one else besides his pale-faced pupil who could possibly have perpetrated the he did it! This medical report card has nothing to do with the case? Do you really believe that? What? The outburst have petrified me, boy. Oh, we just petrified Pain. I can't believe it. Because when he hit the table, it actually smacked. Of course I believe it. How could it possibly be relevant? Perhaps because Hoda Clinic, which issued the report card, is a dental clinic. Dental clinic? Is that supposed to mean something to me? Perhaps if I told you that the victim had just had a tooth extracted? What's this now? And furthermore, if I told you that as a result, the victim had been forbidden from eating. Just what are you trying to say, Cadet? He had orders not to eat, so what? It's all written up in here. No food or drink other than the water for 3 hours post-procedure while anesthesia wears off. What? No, that can't. Kurakoda-san? What, boy, what? As you just heard, when he was killed sometime shortly after 2 p.m., the victim couldn't have been eating anything at all. He doesn't have the big shifty eyes anymore either. That's great. No. So he's more confident now. Additionally, there's more. You have assured the court with unwavering self-confidence that the victim was dining alone. But that cannot possibly be the case. Because the victim, as we now know, had just had one of his teeth extracted and was still experiencing the effects of the anesthetic. Expertly done, partner. What is this nonsense, you little upstart? These were baseless accusations. Just look at this photographic evidence. You can clearly see the plate of food at the victim's table. Use your head. That's the very discrepancy we're talking about. Or can't you follow the logic? How dare you? I think it's fair to say that the tables in this restaurant case have turned. Wouldn't you agree, Ryunosuke? Yes, most definitely. He got the nervous eyes back. So, having just undergone some dental surgery, the victim was unable to eat. Which leaves one very crucial conundrum. Who, in fact, was eating the pictured beef steak? The court will hear the opinion of the defense on this new puzzle. I assume you're ready, counsel? Counsel? Oh, yes, that means me, doesn't it? Alright, the answer to this question is going to be pivotal. This is the start of you turning this trial around. Show them what you're made of. Got it. So, the person eating the steak at the victim's table must have been the victim himself, me, the 2 witnesses, an as yet unknown third party. That's the only thing it could be, huh? I'm pretty sure. So, we're going with it. Obviously, it can only have been someone else who was sitting at the professor's table. You will not let this go, will you? There was no such person. There was, because I saw her. When the incident occurred, we know that the victim couldn't have been eating anything. Yet we have evidence of a half-eaten steak at his table. Therefore, the only logical conclusion is that there was somebody else there eating it. We have strong evidence to support our assertion. It's clear that these witness testimonies are unreliable. If the court decides to push through a ruling on this stage, at this stage, we will lodge a formal complaint with the Ministry of Justice and pursue a fair retrial. Wait, what's the last thing he said? Relentlessly. Kazuma. Are you insane? You would take on the government? Don't worry, Counsel, I have no issue with you. What do you mean? I have issue with them, these two witnesses in the stand. What? What are you talking about? We have demonstrated with evidence that the victim was not alone. So if it turns out now that the two of you were deliberately lied when giving your testimonies, obviously you will be charged with perjury. Perjury? And since this is a murder trial, you will also be deemed complicit in the killing. Oh, wow. Alright. We will definitely save there. Hopefully we can save. Yes. Saving. We'll pick this up later, but we just turned things around, hon. Alright. Well, and if you tuned in, thank you. We're gonna stop now because she is way too tired to go, and it's a visual novel, so, but good stuff so far. It took me a little while to get used to the 3D, but it doesn't look like the art direction suffered, so good looking stuff. We'll see what happens next.